The Dental Brief is brought to you by Omni Premier Marketing and the amazing guests who bring wisdom and advice that you can put to use to take your business and practices to the next level. Find us on Facebook and join the conversation. Get ready to grow because we are kicking off the next episode in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Brief. Have back with me on the program one of my favorite guests to have here, Eric Vickery, All-Star Dental Academy. Welcome back.
You say that to all the guests.
No, I don't say that to all the guests. I say it to half of the guests, not all of them. You know, you've always got such a great sense of humor. Let me give our listeners a little bit of the background that I know about Eric and why I love having you on the program. You're the head coach at All-Star Dental Academy. Also, Dental Academy is helping dentists really, I think, fill a lot of cracks and really help increase their profitability. We can talk a little bit about how you do that, but it's through great coaching, through training, bone training, case acceptance training, leadership training. When you go training, right? And you're the head coach. So you work with all of the coaches there at All-Star. All that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we now 10 years in, we've got 10 coaches, working with 100 or so active coaching clients every month on really a culmination of the same sort of systems. About, I don't know, maybe 25 systems that we engage in, everything from leadership training, insurance freedom, to how to get your patients healthier through understanding verbal skills. And I think some people don't understand that your people skills matter even more than your clinical skills. You got to have your clinical skills so you're not a phony, but how are you going to get people to want to work with you and trust you? And so we just teach systems that are really focused in on emotional intelligence, and from that comes the practice management stuff, whether it's scheduling or a huddle or setting goals or any of that sort of thing. So we really try to cover our focus and what we can do with clients and make sure that we're understanding their KPIs so they understand what buttons to push, and those buttons typically end up being systems or verbal skill systems. Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense. Eric, I hear all the time, I see it all the time that they don't teach business in dental school. They don't teach business anywhere except for business school, right? Law school, medical school, engineering school, architects. I mean, we could go on and on and on. They don't teach business at schools that teach teachers, right? That's just not what they do. The best business leaders get there because they went to school or because they get together with a mentor and work on it. What would you say there?
Yeah, I, of course, didn't go to dental school, but what I hear from dentists all the time is, I know how to take care of a tooth. I know how to clinically handle someone. And that, according to Dale Carnegie, is your foundation. And that's 15% of your success. So where's the other 85% is your people skills and your management skills. And Alex and I talk all the time about three things. You have three hats. You have your clinical hat, you're an artist. You have your entrepreneurial hat because you own a business, and you have your leadership manager hat because you are a leader. And so that middle hat on how to run a business is something that, having a business degree, I thought was going to teach me enough to run a business, but the School of Hard Knocks has probably taught me a lot more over the last 25 years. So, every year we're learning more and more how to help small businesses, dental office, become healthy. And obviously when the patients are healthy, the practice can be healthy for the most part, but you really have to understand that it's more than just about your widget, your patient getting healthier. It's really about your entrepreneurial skills. And most dentists are stuck in the artist role, head down, drilling on patients because they have to produce. They're producers. So they don't really understand vision. They don't really understand goal setting. They don't really understand profit and loss. They don't really understand KPIs. They understand a little bit of it, but what am I looking at? What does that mean for me? Right. And we love to dig into the numbers and the vision and say, okay, this is where you want to go as a vision. This is where your numbers are. What's the gap? And how do we create a goal action plan to get you there?
Yep. Let's dive into goals, right? So
Okay.
2025 is right around the corner. This will probably come out maybe even the first of the year. A lot of people are going to have a lot of dreams in 2025. Some people are going to have goals in 2025. Do you know the difference? What's the difference between like a wish, a dream, and a goal?
Intention. I think I can internally be wishing and dreaming about a lot of things, but until I put it on paper and create some intention to it, it's just a thought, a fleeting thought that's going to disappear. But if I can really get into the writing out, the planning of what it's going to take to get there. So we use a system for that. Understand that intentionality and results, the difference between those two things is accountability. That's where coaching lies. And our accountability is created through systems. So we do like a SWOT analysis, SWOT, about this year versus next year. You create a vision from that. You set. We might even look at your profit and loss and say, okay, your payroll expense is, supposed to be, let's say 26% or less, and you're at X number of dollars. Because of that, what number does your collections need to be? Because you're not going to lower your payroll, so you need to increase your collections. And then we just reverse engineering from your profit and loss, your expenses into your goals. And then we're creating smarter goals. We use that acronym SMARTER, and we lay it out and say, all right, that's that. Create that goal. SMARTER goal is one. I don't know. Let's make up a number. Produce $100,000 a month. Collect $100,000 a month. Just because it's a number, we be easy to figure out. Then we just go into the action plan, the project planner, and say, well, what would it take to get there? And then the client will list out something, or we'll help them. And then we say, okay, that's down the line. What would it take to get there? Okay, that's if that's step 10, then we just figured out step 9. What's it going to take to get to step 9? Oh, step 8. What's it going to take to get there? So we actually get into this process of saying, what would it take to make that possible? And you get all the way down to the first step, which is, oh, I need to make a phone call to Patrick and talk about SEO marketing because I need a different patient coming in. All right, that's the first thing we're going to do. Now we're going to hold you accountable to that. And so coaching is really about CEO therapy, I guess, is how a high-level thinking partner that gets into it with you every month and says, okay, where are you going? Because if you're not going somewhere, if you're not growing, you're declining. And when you own a business, you can't be in decline mode. Otherwise, you're not in business very soon.
CEO therapy is a great way to put it because, right, one thing that therapists help you do is overcome pain, right, and maybe avoid pain. I think coaching can certainly help you avoid a ton of pain, right? Because I think everybody gets there on their own eventually, right? If they work long enough, they're going to become a great leader. They're going to become a very good leader. They're going to become really good at these things, but it's going to come through a ton of pain, right? A ton of hardship, right? You're doing something really the wrong way. You think it's the right way. So you spend 3 years doing it. And then finally you see somebody else has a shortcut to it. We'll call it a hack. That's a popular term nowadays, a shortcut that you could have just avoided 3 years of hardship. You see this happen a lot, don't you?
Yeah. And I like to think that everybody can do it. I've just had some clients over the years that I think to myself, and I share with them this, is you probably shouldn't have been a business owner. Associateship was probably the better model for you, just based on your DNA, because there's so much that it does take. You gotta be. I call it with my wife. My wife's a therapist, and she works with our clients. But there's just high performing human beings, and some of us have the ability to juggle a lot and not have it overwhelm us, and not be. I picture Back to the Future, with the scientists. I can't think of his name right now, but
I know who you're talking about.
White hair and
Einstein.
Everything's kind of all over the he's all over the place. The dog was
Doc.
Einstein, and
Doc
Doc.
Holliday?
Yeah, he called him
Doc.
Doc.
Okay.
Doc.
Yeah.
And he lights the car on fire, on fire in the model. I didn't get a chance to build this to scale, and the car goes off and catches on fire, and he's putting the fire out, and it's just like one thing out, and it's like you didn't think this through all the way. He's very intellectual, he's very technical, he understands it, but the translation to action is really tough for him. Then you got Marty coming along, and he's the one that has to kind of see it through and make it happen. And I guess that's where you need partnerships, whether that's a business partner, a coach partner, somebody to really look at your business from a different set of eyes, be really brutally honest with you and say, hey, this is an issue. And we've told clients, this won't work unless this changes. You've got to get this change going, but we don't like to tell if we can help it. We really want to lead. We want to help you create your goals and your vision, your action plan to get there, and then support you in it and tell you if we think it's a bad idea, of course, because you'll ask for our feedback. And we've just seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to 300 different scenarios with clients over the last 20 plus years where it works or doesn't work.
Yeah.
And why would you try to, stumble through the dark and reinvent a bad wheel when you can just say, oh, I can just take off where this one was going and build from that knowledge.
Right.
And I think the younger the dentist is, the harder it is for them to wrap their brains around that. We get a lot of clients that are 40, 45 plus, like, okay, I'm tired of trying to figure out how to do this. Help me. And it comes to a place where someone's just maybe not, I don't know if it's ignorant or pride, that just says, oh, I can do this. I went to dental school, I can do this. And that's hard. You buy a practice, you spend all this money, and you have no idea if you're sinking it or and some people are just natural at it. They just do get it. I mean, we're just talking with a new client now. He's on his way from 4 to 6 offices, and he's, in his early 30s. He just gets it. They just high performing human beings. But you can actually make this work if you know the hacks, to use your term. If you know the hacks, you can make this work. You can get team members on board, and you can go really, really far in dentistry. It's actually a wonderful business to be in, because you're helping people. You're not selling cars maybe, but you are selling health.
Yeah.
And so your goals need to match your vision, your passion, and what they are. And then you need someone that has been there before to say, this is a great way to get that done.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I will tell you that there are a lot of shortcuts out there. And it doesn't mean they're magic bullets. They're not silver bullets, right? There's no necessarily easy way, but there's easier ways, right? When you work with a coach who's been there, done that, has seen it failed, or has seen successes, it saves a lot of time. And I think there are, as you mentioned, really these people that are really high energy, high functioning people, but they're still using those hacks too, right? I mean, they're still not like trying to reinvent
That's
everything.
what allows you to be so high functioning. I'll get on I'll be working with a client for a while, and I'll go, all right, share your screen with me, because we're virtual. We can go into practices, but we try to save the client a lot of money. We do self-funded coaching, meaning if we're charging you, $1,300 a month for the whole package, our hope is that you're getting 3,600 ROI on that, triple that minimum. And so you never feel the cost, but we can go on site. We can do, really invasive and intensive training. But I was getting on this virtual screen with a client. He shares his dentrix with me, and I look at it and I go, there's so many things you're not doing. I can tell just by looking at your schedule that you're not doing what you need to be doing to run your business efficiently. And I don't think, like, if you showed me x-rays as a dentist, you could look at it and go, oh man, there's a lot there. I can't do that. I can't look at x-rays and go, oh, and there's a mess there. I just look at x-rays and see toes. But I can look at a schedule and go, wow. Or I can look at your KPI tracker and go, oh, wow, there's things here to work on, no matter what level you're at. So that's where the hacks come into play.
Yeah. I don't know anybody that's high functioning that doesn't have a coach behind them. I can 2025 goals. So 2025 goals.
Yeah.
So first of all, you got to write them down, right? You got to, and then what? Put the steps down, right? The steps of here's helping to make this goal happen.
Yeah. Let's talk goals, because I think some people go, I could say, I want to produce $1 million tomorrow. Well, that's not very realistic, right? So the smarter acronym works. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, or written down with a time frame. And then I've added the ER, which is you've got to constantly be evaluating them. And then you want to either reward or readjust.
Yeah.
And I picked that up somewhere. I can't take credit for that over the years, but you want to make sure as you write a goal, does it fit into all of those qualifiers? And so is it realistic? Is it measurable? And we often use dollars as a measuring tool. And I think sometimes people in dentistry especially get annoyed with that. It's just a metric. I'm not going, ooh, money, 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 money. I'm just saying, we know that when patients get healthier faster, the production increases. If you want to do single tooth composites the rest of your life, that's fine. You're just going to be stuck there. And I don't know how open the business is going to be. And I honestly don't know how healthy your patients are getting. If you think you can solve that fracture, that's off the distal and the mesial with an occlusal composite, I don't think that's how people are getting healthier either. So, but what we're not doing is gouging patients. What we're not doing is being the most expensive person in town. We're not trying to rip people off and manipulate them. And that's what I love about dentistry is you have a ton of integrity, getting people healthy, and also have it be a blessing to you and your team. So the first thing to do is understand, hey, if I'm going to set a goal for next year, it needs to be based upon reality of where I am today. Don't walk into January 1st and go, we're going to double it.
Right.
It depends on where you are in the timeline of your practice. If you're a scratch practice, you're going to have a much steeper incline of growth than somebody who's a veteran practice that's been around 20 years.
Right.
And so for that veteran practice, a 10 to 20% increase is pretty normal for a successful veteran practice. But a 40% increase would be pretty normal for a struggling practice when they put the right systems and verbal skills into use.
Right.
So have a coach tell you, and I don't think we talk enough about numbers in dentistry anyway. What should a practice be producing, right? And I don't know why. I think we're maybe ashamed of that.
I think that dentists do talk about that quite a bit, but I think sometimes this happens, and this kind of a delicate way, but I hear people say, how many new patients are you getting per month? 50. That's a number I hear all the time. 50. It's like, how many? So many are so even right at that 50. How is it such a... That's it. Yeah. You have 50, like you're not 47, not 53.
Are you tracking it? Where are they coming from? Yeah.
Right. And I think that the truth is, if you put 1,000 dentists in a room and you asked them, you would come up with numbers. And for probably 95% of them, they would be off. They would be off by a significant amount. And it's just because of what they think. And I think sometimes they just think that because they hear other people say that. And it almost becomes kind of the rumor mill.
That's right.
I don't know why it happens. And it doesn't just happen in dentistry. It happens everywhere. But how do you stop that? Like,
you got to track your numbers and know what they mean. You got to know what number to look for. And I will say this, garbage in, garbage out. I don't know that dental software is the best source for your tracking. Like, there's nothing wrong with little bean counting and actually looking at things and physically counting them and tracking them yourself. I think that's very healthy. There's great products out there, dashboards that will work with you, but your dental software's got to be used the right way to make those work. So you got to know what you're looking for. I'll ask doctors and teams, what is your case acceptance? Oh, 80%. Put our case acceptance tracker in place. It's not 80%. 80% of what? 80% of people, 80% of dollars? What is it? And all of a sudden you start looking at it and going, okay, yeah, you're getting 90% case acceptance because your average treatment plan size is $1,200. Something's wrong.
Right.
That's not the average human being walking around doesn't need $1,200 worth of dentistry in their mouth. Much more than that.
Right.
I mean, they haven't seen a dentist in 4 more years. So there's an awakening that happens when you start looking at the numbers and going, oh, my goals, I thought I didn't need a goal because I really didn't know where I was. And so you got to have this foundation starting point, understand where your numbers are so that you can grow. I don't think anybody who owns a business and wants to be stagnant. Now, I think why we do our leadership training every year in January is because doctors and owners struggle with, leading a horse to water and making them drink. And so we do a lot. I'm a John Maxwell leadership coach. Shelley is as well. Alex has the Tony Robbins background. So we have a lot of leadership in us, in our DNA. And we're trying to help that third hat move from, okay, if you're going to be an effective entrepreneur, you got to be an effective leader. And how do you be an effective leader when you're drilling teeth all day long? Oh, I'll hire an office manager. Yeah. And also that creates a challenge too. How do you still lead? So that's a whole nother podcast, a whole nother well to go down into and dig into. But you have a lot of hats you have to wear. And if you're just trying to put on the artist dentist hat, you're going to struggle.
Right. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
If you're not on top of your goals and you don't have them written down for 2025, you got to start there, right? Yeah. I highly recommend get with a coach. All-Star Dental Academy is a great place to start. Check them out. There's a reason why they're on this program so much, right? We have other coaches on this program too, but there's a reason why All-Star keeps coming back. They have the online academy, which I think is fantastic for your teams. I actually think it's probably the best value in dental as far as training is concerned. So give that a check. Give that a check out for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to ask you this last question before we go.
Okay.
If you're coach, what is the responsibility of the business owner, of the dentist, with accountability and their coach? So in other words, you have these goals. What do you need to do? What is it? What works best? Oh, and I'm sorry, this is a little not put together because I just thought of this right now. But if you're not going over your goals, and having accountability with your coach, that's actually just as much on you, or maybe even more than it is the coach themselves, right? Coaches are going to help you get better at what you want to get better at. And if you're not bringing it to them, you're not going to. So what can they do to make that relationship better and get more out of their coach?
So I totally get what you're saying. I like the analogy of I want to lose weight or gain weight. Maybe I want to gain muscle and I want to lose weight. Well, if that's an intention in my mind, you're talking about like a vision and a dream, a wish, or I'm trying to bulk up or whatever, I'm in my bulking state. And if I just have it in my mind and I just think, okay, I'm going to get bigger. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. How likely am I going to get there? Right. Now, all of a sudden I say, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to step on the scale every day. All right, now I'm going to write out a diet plan. I'm going to watch my calorie intake. I'm going to, oh, you know what? I'm going to start calling my weight out every morning and night to Abby. And now I've got accountability with someone. All of a sudden, all those steps start going to play. I'm that much more likely to achieve the goal. That's all we're doing is saying, stop being just intentional, having intent, stop having just dreams, make it tactical. And have someone that is a partner with you and sharing that to create some accountability. So every month when you get on the Zoom meeting and you're meeting with them, you go, hey, how are you doing with that thing you said you wanted to do? What's going on there? All right, what's going to take to make that happen? All right, what's going to take to make that happen? And maybe you could do it on yourself. Maybe you're that, efficient. Great. But even the greatest athletes have coaches. I'm a big Steph Curry fan. He's got his shooting coach. He's got his off-season coaches. He's got his goals. So people who are reaching levels they never thought possible are typically tapping into others who help get them there. Nobody gets up there and just says, I want to thank, just me for only me for my whole life for what I did. There's always someone else in your life that is encouraging you to get there. So get a mentor, be in a mastermind group, listen to podcasts, but have it get somebody, get a coach, have someone who's specific to your information, because everyone is so different. We coach every office differently.
Yep. Awesome. I'll start down academy.com. Eric Vickery, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you, Patrick.